Welcome back to the show. The idea for today's episode came from a question from one of my email subscribers. She asked how to transition from years of corporate work to entrepreneurship. And it really is a shift, right? When you make that move from the corporate world to running your own business, you have to rewire your brain. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How to rewire your brain for entrepreneurship. Now, for me, the shift from corporate to being a solo business owner wasn't just about getting a new job title. I had been in leadership roles for years, usually reporting directly to the CEO and handling major initiatives with a great deal of autonomy. I wasn't used to being told exactly what to do. I was given objectives, and it was up to me to figure out the best way to achieve them. But while I had a lot of freedom in how I worked, there was still a framework and a support structure in place. But stepping into the role of CEO for my own business meant I had to let go of that structure. I was no longer operating within a company with an established roadmap. I was building my own roadmap. And that required a lot of mindset adjustment, from how I think about risk to how I approach decision-making and growth. In this episode, I'll walk you through the shifts in mindset I had to make to successfully go from being an executive to becoming a CEO. Whether you were in a managerial role, part of a larger team, or navigating any other corporate environment, these mindset shifts will still apply as you step into the entrepreneurial world. We'll talk about what it takes to step into your new role and how to embrace the freedom and responsibility that come with running your own business. I'll also give you some specific action steps, because you know I like things to be actionable, that you can take to start rewiring your brain for entrepreneurship. So if you're ready to start thinking like a CEO, let's jump in. Let's start with the basics. When you're an employee, especially in a more structured environment, there's a lot of direction coming from above. In my case, having worked in executive leadership, I was used to being given those objectives, like I said before, not being told exactly what to do or exactly how to do everything. My boss, who was the CEO, trusted me with high-level goals and expected me to figure out the best path to achieve them. Still, even though I had a significant amount of autonomy, there was that built-in structure. I had specific targets to hit. But I was working within a system that already existed. There was predictability. I knew how the business operated. I knew what resources were available. And I had the framework of the company's established strategies to guide me. Now, as CEO of my own business, that level of autonomy is still present, even more so, but it comes with a lot more responsibility. When I became a business owner, I no longer had the framework or the established systems to fall back on. I had to create everything from scratch. This meant a shift from merely achieving objectives to being responsible for building and driving the vision of the entire business. I wasn't just figuring out how to meet preset goals anymore. I was creating them, and that's a whole new mental game. So let's talk about 3 key mindset shifts that you need to make. Shift number 1 is from safety to risk. As an executive, I was already accustomed to making decisions, often with minimal guidance. But there was always a safety net in the background. I wasn't risking the entire company. In contrast, as a CEO, my decisions directly impact the success or failure of my business. That shift from having that structured environment and that safety net to running my own show has forced me to embrace risk in a whole new way. So here's your action step. Start embracing manageable risks. This might mean trying a new marketing strategy or testing out a product launch idea. The key is to start small and take those risks consistently because that will build your confidence. Shift number 2 is from tasks to vision. In the corporate world, I was often focused on achieving specific objectives, sometimes on a quarterly or yearly basis. I had that autonomy, but my day-to-day work was still somewhat led by what was already established. As a CEO, however, my role changed from executing preset tasks to setting the direction and the vision for the entire company. I'm not simply fulfilling tasks that are part of a broader strategy. I create the strategy. So here's your action step. Define your vision. Think about where you want your business to be in 3, 5, or even 10 years. Work backward from there to create your goals and start aligning your daily work to that long-term vision. And I go deep into crafting a vision in episode 37 of the podcast. I'll drop a link to that in the show notes. Okay, shift number 3 is from passive to proactive. As an executive, I was often reacting to changes in the company or responding to challenges. But as a CEO, I had to anticipate what was coming down the road. And honestly, that's not one of my strongest suits, so it was a skill that I had to learn. It meant thinking more proactively, whether it was forecasting revenue, identifying potential obstacles, or preparing for growth. In the corporate world, that thinking was done by the leadership team, but now it's all on me. So your action step is to schedule time each quarter for strategic planning. Use that time to proactively address potential roadblocks and identify new opportunities to grow your business. And I talk about how to create a strategic plan that's aligned with your goals in episode 56. So I'll drop a link to that as well. So let's talk about habits. In the corporate world, I was used to having a structure that guided me. I think anybody who's ever worked in a corporate environment would agree that it's very structured. I had my calendar, my meetings, my set objectives. But when I moved into entrepreneurship, that structure was gone. It was up to me to create new habits that would keep me on track and drive my business forward. I had to build my own structure. I began to implement habits like a morning routine that set the tone for my day. I dedicate the first hour of my workday to planning and strategizing. In addition to daily routines, I also started setting aside specific CEO days every month. These are full days dedicated purely to high-level planning, strategy, and reflection, and they're away from day-to-day operations. It's a chance to step back and look at the bigger picture, assess progress, and realign goals. And this reminds me so much of something that one of my old bosses said. He was new to his role as CEO, and he had asked his executive assistant to build in time in his schedule for thinking. Now, this was a multi-million-dollar company, and he recognized how important that thinking time is. This was fairly early in my career, and it made an impression on me. I really think that one of the key things you need to do to make that shift from employee to entrepreneur is to make room for CEO routines. So much of what we do as employees is hustle and grind. And as solopreneurs, we still need to hustle and grind, but we also need to step back, or really I should say step up, into those higher level activities. So your action step is create your CEO routine, dedicate specific blocks of time to focus on high level tasks like strategy and planning for growth. Put it in your calendar. This is your CEO time, dedicated time in your day, week, or month that gives you the space to think beyond the day-to-day. Now let's talk about overcoming imposter syndrome and self-doubt, because this is a biggie. Moving from a position in a corporate structure to being your own boss often comes with feelings of imposter syndrome. Personally, I was used to being trusted to make decisions and lead teams. And I know that people that I worked with considered me very confident and self-assured. But suddenly, when I was responsible for everything, the self-doubt crept in. I questioned myself. I questioned my decisions. I questioned my ability to succeed without the safety net of the corporate structure. It was challenging, but I learned how to embrace those moments of uncertainty. The key was to understand that everyone feels like an imposter at some point, especially when taking on a new, bigger role. So here's your action step. Reframe your thoughts around imposter syndrome. Instead of thinking, who am I to do this? Remind yourself that you've been building the skills and knowledge needed throughout your journey. You're capable, and you've already proven that in other roles. Next, build a network of like-minded CEOs. One of the things that I think is hard about going out on your own is that you are on your own. In the corporate world, you're working with other people. You have colleagues, you have team members. There's a built-in support system. You have people to bounce ideas off of. But as a solopreneur, you don't have that, and you can feel isolated. I quickly realized that I needed to surround myself with other entrepreneurs who could relate to the struggles and triumphs that I was experiencing. Having a network of like-minded CEOs became crucial for me. I found mentors who had already gone through the struggles I was facing and peers who were navigating the same challenges. Your action step is to build your network, whether it's through masterminds, coaching groups, or even local meetups and online communities. Find people who get where you're coming from. There are plenty of places out there where you can find those people. Facebook groups, LinkedIn, events like conferences or workshops, your local chamber of commerce. Surrounding yourself with others who are on a similar path can make all the difference as you grow your business. So far, we've talked a lot about the shifts you need to make in your mindset to step into your role as CEO. But I want to finish up with these final thoughts because they really drive home the point. Your mindset is everything. As an entrepreneur, your mindset is one of the most important assets you have. And I'm saying this with full awareness that, it might sound a little woo-woo, but hear me out. Over the years, I've learned that what you believe about yourself, your business, and your potential plays a huge role in what you actually achieve. The way you think about money, success, and your capabilities can either hold you back or push you forward. There's a lot of baggage around money, especially for women. We are taught to downplay our ambitions or shy away from talking about making more. And for some reason, it can feel uncomfortable to admit that you want to earn more or to even say that we already are. But here's the truth. To grow your business, you need to get comfortable with being ambitious. You need to own your desire for success and financial freedom. Owning your ambition is a very CEO thing to do. So practice it. Say it out loud or write about it in your journal. Here are some affirmation ideas that you can borrow. I'm capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. I like that one. I trust myself to make decisions that move my business forward. I have the skills, knowledge, and experience to make my vision a reality. Every day, I'm becoming more confident in my abilities. My business is growing and thriving because I am committed to its success. It might feel weird at first if you're not used to affirmations, but once you get comfortable with it, it makes a difference. The more you say these things, the more you'll start believing them and acting on them. Your mindset is everything, and once you shift it, the rest will follow. So here's your final action step. Make self-belief part of your daily routine. Start each day by affirming your strengths and abilities. The more you practice positive self-talk, the more you'll strengthen your CEO mindset. Okay, friends, let's wrap things up with your action plan for today. Choose one of the mindset shifts we discussed and commit to it for the next week. Start implementing one new habit or strategy to develop your CEO routine, and reframe any imposter syndrome thoughts you're experiencing and replace them with affirmations of your strengths. Mindset work takes time, so don't give up. It's worth it. I'd love to hear what you're working on right now. Head over to Instagram and share which action step you're going to tackle this week. You can drop a comment on one of my posts or tag me if you post on your own feed. And be sure to head over to toniakendrick.com/56 for the show notes. You'll find links to all the resources mentioned today. And before you go, if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start taking action in your business, check out Take Action Club. It's my membership for solo entrepreneurs who want real progress without the overwhelm. You'll get live implementation weeks, co-working sessions, a private podcast, and instant access to a huge resource library to help you take action one step at a time. The link is in the show notes or visit toniakendrick.com. I'd love to see you on the inside. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.